Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm here with all of our speakers from the block. We have Zoya, Lujza, Deepti, Sarah, Natalia. I think I mentioned all of them. Did I mention all of you guys? I think so. Anyways, thank you for joining me for our roundtable and Q&A session. It's really cool to be in a full all-female cast this time around. I really enjoyed your talks, and I'm sure our audience did as well. We do have some interesting questions lined up. And also for the audience, if there's any other questions that come up, just write them in the Q&A or the chat box, and I'll try to get to all of them and make sure everyone gets their minute in. Let's start with the first question. So maybe like a more general one, or I think it should be related to quite a few of you here actually, but what is your view on the role of cooperation versus competition in innovation? So maybe Sarah and Deepti, you guys had the most relevant or the most the stage is yours.
That's one of my favorite topics, and one of the topics that I really studied a lot with while I was studying at Stanford. One of my professors was teaching about non-consensus innovations, and it's basically just talks about that how collaboration is very much important while we want to ideate on new ideas and come up with new ideas. But at the same time, and having a non-consensus is equally important to be innovative. So which really what means is that if you have an idea that everybody agrees to, how can you have that as a disruptive idea? That means you're not thinking far enough. So collaboration is important as long as coming together with thoughts, diverse perspectives, ideas, and also bringing energy and bringing inclusiveness is very important. But when it comes to really taking off that idea into that innovation and disruptive path, and when the selection of ideas happens, there is definitely a need for non-consensus innovation. That's my view on that.
Natalia, interesting.
You say that.
Mm-hmm. Can you say again? I kind of got connected. The role of collaboration in.
Yeah. So the role of collaboration versus competition in innovation. So that's the question.
I think like competition is like a super interesting topic because I think we can create something bigger, right? And as soon as, for example, competitors come together and bring assets to the table, which are not related to their core business, they can create something which is much bigger than what those two companies, for example, do. And I think that's also like kind of our duty as entrepreneurs to create something. Right, and this is possible by bringing different ideas to one table. I think it's possible if two companies take their ego aside and innovate in areas where it's not critical to the key and core business, and then something really beautiful can happen.
That's some good insight. Yeah. Do the rest of you have anything to add as well?
I would add. Yep. Sorry.
Okay, I take that. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was just wanted to tell Sarah that before we jumped on this live session, we had a quick chat about this, and I think that the moment that we stop praising materialistic goods, things like that can be more possible. It doesn't sound like complete utopia, taking out the ego. And that was just a comment I wanted to make.
I would say in our industry, which is become more and more fierce, the competition, we still do share a lot of things between each other, and this is the industry where everyone is in the doing the baby steps, right? So if you don't share, if you hide something, it means that none of you will really develop your products that far that you plan. So you need to get comfortable at competing, and you need to you don't always necessarily compete by innovating only, right? So it's the customers that's really gonna, at the end of the day, choose which service or which products. And I'm speaking about my industry, especially. We always cooperate.
And I just have a small point to add to that. When you talk about collaboration versus competition, it is also in what context you are talking about. The answer that I gave was more in the context of really inside an organization, whether you compete with each other and collaborate with each other. But also in terms of two companies, for instance, you see in terms of COVID, the contact tracing apps, Google and Apple, they collaborated to come up for public good and innovation, right? And that's where there's space for everyone there. If you come up with, let's say, you build a certain level of understanding and collaboration where everybody can sail together, then everybody can kind of pick their own USP to build their own empires on.
Yeah, I also have small comment on this topic. Basically, what I faced in my practice is more competition than collaboration, actually. So I'm looking on it from the perspective that we are we are a startup actually, and we collaborated and we try to collaborate a lot with corporations through the form of corporate acceleration programs. And we participated in these acceleration programs a lot as a startup. And basically, we saw a lot of competition that was coming from inside company and from outside. It's maybe it's bad, but it's reality that when you come up with some idea, it means that some departments inside the company will need to change the way they work, and they are trying to resist. So startups that have bright, innovative ideas, they should also be ready to compete with the world, with the reality, and try to persuade companies, potential partners, clients that it's worth trying and it's worth implementing this or that innovative idea.
Maybe now I want to add also something. If there's no competition, then you're going a wrong path. That's also
that's also true, right?
So we really have to keep in mind that competition is something absolutely necessary to keep us on speed. And I think we sometimes forget that.
That's super. I have something to add as well, and maybe just segue to Deepti a little bit as well. So in disruptive innovation, though, isn't it a lot of times that you're not competing with anyone, you're creating something new completely. So competition has a different meaning within disruptive innovation, no?
Right. So when you're saying you're not competing, what you're really doing is, if you talk about disruptive innovations in particular, there's always a certain market segment which is existing with certain consumers, right? Yeah. When you're coming up with a competitive idea, what you're actually doing is you're either creating a completely new customer segment for the new service that you're bringing, or you are trying to create a new value proposition for the same customer segment, or what you're trying to do is completely change the whole direction and canceling maybe one of the value chain, some distributors in or supply chain. You're just kind of disrupting that, right? And all of these things, when you're thinking of doing, it's in a way you're going back to the same people, the same needs. And that's how it's still a bit of a competitive nature, where you have to kind of drive innovation through insights about consumers and then competing on what you do with those insights.
Gotcha. Thanks so much for the clarification. Okay, I think I'm going to segue a little bit into a more technical question. So we had a few questions in the Q&A, additional ones for Lujza as well, actually. They're a bit more specific, but the first is, what is your vision, 5 to 10 years for the telehealth industry?
Oof, that's a very, I doubt that no visionaries are even saying what is tomorrow going to look like. But what I really feel that the telehealth industry has the opportunity to change is to bring moderately the same quality of healthcare advice to anybody and everybody around the world. So it kind of takes away that private kind of private healthcare feel for only the privileged ones, and obviously it's not going to be the same, but at least the wisdom pool will be available for everybody. I think that's beautiful. I think there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to restoring people's faith in science and healthcare. I think that's only at the very beginnings of what we are going to face. There is going to be a lot of maybe even fights around how healthcare will be shaped and who's going to get richer and richer and who's not going to get richer and richer. So there's a lot of money involved. I personally have my vision in the mental health area, going with prevention tech rather than healing tech. So I'm not trying to substitute a doctor, or I would be actually personally scared to do so. There might be some bold ones that would go this path, but I think telemedicine has the opportunity to bring better, more efficient ways of how we heal or prevent our bodies from getting hurt. So that's where I see a lot of possibilities in future prevention tech.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, prevention is definitely a huge thing, and I think a lot of medicine doesn't focus enough on it. Traditional medicine often doesn't focus enough on it. So thank you for that answer.
You're already solving the trouble that's done.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And then the second question was, which acquisition channels of doctors work the best and worst? That was in the chat.
So it's before the pandemic, it was absolutely difficult, and it was we tried a couple of scenarios of how to get doctors signed up for a platform that tells them this is a new thing to learn. They're like, nah, I have my phone, I have my WhatsApp, I have my Facebook group. Even if we were trying to tell them this is not a safe way how to talk about medical information over your, I don't know, WhatsApp, Facebook group or things like this, they were not listening very much. And I think that it will take a big scandal for them to really start caring about it, because they're seriously taking 100 patients per day. So it's been crazy. But once we offered our solution to a hospital that was closed down because of the some lady that walked in and she was coronavirus positive, and everybody had to go into quarantine. All of a sudden, they had the hospital had 60 doctors at home. But with our app, they can still help patients because they were at home and they were actually able to work. So that was one of the first things that helped us to go through. So it was more like a PR thing that helped us to get more and more doctors, and then the rest of it is just I sometimes do the cold calling. You just find numbers of doctors that we find that could be interesting. I'll be like, hi, this is me, Lujza. I'm calling from MAIA. I'm the CEO, and I think that you should use us. So no channel is dirty enough. You just need to go and try.
Cool, thank you. I hope that answered Alexander's questions, I believe. So yeah, thank you. My next question is actually for Zoya. I know that, so basically in your talk, you could talk a little bit more narrowly about use of emotions in campaigns, but I just wanted to give you a chance to also talk a little bit more about what you do and expand on what you do as a company, because I know your offering and what you do is a lot broader than what you touched on in the talk. So the stage is yours.
Yeah, so basically my speech earlier today was about one part actually of our work. I was talking about how emotions that you use while you create advertisement help you to increase efficiency, but what we do, we developed a platform that distribute content from brands in the format of native advertising and different AI-based technologies. They analyze people's behavior online, and they're trying to predict whether a person would like this content that the platform is showing or not, and whether you will become a customer of our brand or will not become a customer. So we've been working for it for probably 5 years, and we survived a number of pivots during our path. And yeah, so basically what we saw now, we started to grow as soon as we pivoted to this current idea that I just told you, and we see how it's needed by lots of brands, especially these days when you communicate mostly online with people and you need to tell them stories and you need them to communicate with your brand. So we see a huge need in platforms like ours these days.
Oh, thank you. I hope you had a bit of more of a chance to, yeah. Thanks for your answer.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I mean, it's very interesting what you're doing, and I've also worked in brand strategy for a very long time in my life, and I do understand how tapping into emotions of people is so much more important to design marketing around it, and especially with media tech coming in, and it's very, very interesting. But I mean, there's a huge movement around humane tech right now. Right? Of course, there was a Netflix series that captured, the essence of it. Where do you actually draw a line between capturing the emotions and giving them something that they want, then nudging them to give them something that you're actually influencing their behaviors, right? It'd be interesting to know how you're dealing with this side of things.
Well, this question, it's more, it's actually not about technology. It's actually about how a person who is driving campaign, what is his moral compass, I would say. So because technology can be used in a bad direction and in a good direction, and the person who is in front of user interface actually decides how to use this platform or this technology. And our platform is not it's just how you can deal with it. So basically, I believe that people who are working in our company and those brands that we're working with are more on a good side rather than a bad. And so it's actually like when and how we decide what our message could be, and whether we cross this line or whether we stay on a good side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, do you guys have any more questions for each other? That's always an interesting way to...
Actually, I had a question for Natalia. So about your company and about how you deal with couriers, because it's like these days they interfere in our lives, they come to our doors. Do you have any kind of review of who they are? Like, do you guide them? Do you explain like how they need to deal with customers? Because it's getting more and more, I don't know, sensitive, because people who drive us in Uber and who deliver food to our doors, like we depend on them.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a very important topic for us as a company. Our career partners, we have a partnership agreements in most of the markets. It depends on market by market. We have a training procedures for every career in every market, what to do and what to not to do. Very important is the GDPR. Also, like we have certain standards that everyone in our company needs to follow, including the partners, including partner restaurants, partner couriers, and the team itself, also the customers. So everyone is under like special rules that they need to follow. What about the checks? It depends on the market by market. We do have, for example, in Georgia, it's a very different market from some other European markets. We have a system where either couriers or partners are bringing us the new courier partners. It's like suggesting who might be a good partner, and we do get contracts. But we trust our partners, and I think till today we but we also have like every time you do get a delivery, you rate your delivery. You rate food separately and you rate the delivery separately. So we have live support that looks at every order, every second, every minute of it. It means that if something goes wrong, we're there to fix it. And yeah, we have trust, and thankfully for now things are going well. But yes, the gig economy itself is one big thing that is going to be talked more and more.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I think we're actually running out of time, and the studio is giving me a little bit of a nudge to try and wrap it up, wrap this up. But thanks so much for joining me back. It was a really cool panel. I'm happy, as I said, I'm happy you all joined back. But yeah, so I think this is everything we have time for. But first, to the audience, I hope you take a little time to stretch out and go for a little walk. And after that, we also have a workshop in the virtual booth planned from one of our sponsored Aligned Research Group. So come and join us and learn about unlocking the value of unstructured data. And then after that, we have a really cool healthy food masterclass by Dimitri Savano, and he's going to teach us how to make a delicious quinoa bowl. So stay tuned and join us back for the rest of the program, and hopefully see you here for the second part as well. But thank you again for joining. And yeah.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.